All right. So yeah, how's it going, guys? This is the final round. Looks like the games have been really progressing fast. My name is Ben Mantle, aka Ben Baduk, and I'll be your commentator for these final games. So yeah, how's everyone doing, and how have you guys enjoyed the game so far? And do you guys have any any favorites between these two pairs of players who you think is going to win? So we've got Joel Kenny versus Wang Binhao, and then Wu Yifan versus Sun Shinku. Excuse my pronunciation. So let's just take a look at the Joel versus Wang game first. Actually, I guess it should be like Joel versus Binhao, right? Yeah. So let's get started. So, okay, we've got this nice, territory style opening from Black. Something I actually was playing quite a lot until recently when I switched to this one. Um, I started to I started to just kind of hate. We saw something like this in Lion Guy Sai's commentary in the previous round. So this kind of variation. Um, Personally, I started to not play this just taste-wise, just because I feel like it's just too easy for white, and I started to get more interested in openings that facilitate, mistakes from your opponent a bit more. But yeah, anyway, so, pretty normal so far. I'm actually pretty especially in the age of, Katago and all the AIs, I'm used to white actually going ahead and exchanging this. Um, Probably fine, but yeah, in the past, we used to think that that if we're not going to hurry to just settle with this kind of extension and we're going to do other things, of course black could play like this kind of move. So the idea was that there's actually like a heavy exchange. We give black more points and we are actually heavy if we get pincered from this side. So that's why people would just not connect yet, right? But these days I'm used to people just connecting actually and then just doing it. But okay, so white opts for not cutting, but just the direct push, which is also normal. And then white cuts. Okay. Yeah, it changes things a little bit. Now it changes back, right, to if it had been like this, and then white exchanges these moves next. I can't say for sure anything definitively. I don't know who benefits from these exchanges. But if I had to guess, like if anyone benefits over the other, I would say black, because what I'm more used to actually is um, like just it getting finished like this. And something like pushing here or knight's move or anything is something that happens later. So, um, but I doubt that it really matters too much. Actually, it's very similar to a result we could get where if black is actually tarrying here, then usually this push comes. And then again, we get something along these lines. The game proceeded thusly, and then white decides to block this side. One idea you might have in this kind of situation, I see AI recommend pincer directly from that variation. Aha, pincer directly. So let's see. I wonder which moment you're talking about. Pincer directly. Ignoring. Ah, yeah. Gotcha, gotcha. Pincer directly. Interesting. You said you've seen this happening? I haven't, but I haven't been training much recently, so interesting. Interesting. That surprises me a bit, but I believe it. Yeah, I would normally expect just here. But that would make sense. If pincer is actually pretty legit here these days, for this situation, then it would make sense that white may want to avoid that, just their choice. For D, yeah, for D14. I wonder if, can I make this chat bigger? So small. There we go. Okay, so let's see what happens. Ultimately, it kind of just ends pretty peacefully. Black does opt for the cuttable knight's move. Yeah, so when white comes here, it will be a little annoying, but black is so it's a trade-off, right? So black wants the added sort of center presence here, as well as the idea that if black does get more moves on the top, then of course being high ends up being better, right? Because you get more points. Although I personally I've experimented quite a lot with these other moves, but I prefer this one. Much easier to play. Which brings me to this idea here. So one simple idea you could imagine is playing like this. We also saw that in one of the Lion Guy side, the round 4 games. Very, very similar type of situation. And in fact, if we have black kind of not caring too much, then this is actually a pretty much like a lethal, not in terms of killing the corner or anything like that, but this does cut black very effectively. So like here, um, yeah, black has to connect. Like black can't even really think about this move because this still white connects, but also yeah. So black connects, white plays here, and then black is just cut. It's pretty bad for black. If black trades, it's even worse for black. Like the corner is huge and black's not even alive. So probably black has to play like this in this type of situation. And then I would expect something like this. Black connects or plays here, and then white cuts. But either way, I don't think anyone in like I don't think any of us want to get cut there, right? So pretty sure black responds in this case. Yeah. So you can play like this, or you can, if Sente is very important, you can kick. Or if you think the jump is very nice, then you can kick first. Um, this kind of situation, I would be inclined to play here to not make white stronger. But we do have some potential for white here, so I feel like the kick and jump is at least thinkable. Actually, you don't have to add this jump. You can play anything. So going forward then, white blocked the other side, so white has other plans in mind. And okay, so yeah, that makes sense too. Black has this huge build up here, so it makes sense that O3 is like black's dream spot, right? Yeah, because the vertical potential, it's wide, but it's also like the vertical potential of these stones here is really enhancing the potential here. So everybody wants to occupy one of these spots. Like for black, it would be O3. For white, it would be O3 or N3. Usually O3. That makes sense too. Yeah. Okay, and then black splits high. Yeah, I usually don't recommend most Q players to split high. And in fact, in many cases, it is just legit bad. But it can be good if you know how to do it. But you need to realize that you're going to be severely undercut. Like, let's say white played from this side. Then when you play here, of course, you're still undercut. And even if white just blocks the corner, you really don't want to play a move like this too slow. So it's very awkward, basically, right? And maybe white plays on this side. But you can't really make your base properly. So you need to really know what you're doing. And I would say you want to have a concrete tactical plan in place before you play a move like this. What I generally recommend players of most levels is to split on the third line, this move or this move. Okay. So we get a common crosscut variation here. And then yeah, black is worried. White, yeah, black is worried that white is. I guess that white's gonna play here. Let me see. So there's a little bit of a Joseki for this. So first of all, if black cuts, then white's gonna push and crawl. And then usually, like if white pushes again, black can actually descend once. Capturing these two stones would unite all the black stones, right? But then if white connects, black extends, and white's very sad. So usually the Joseki here is for white to exchange once with a Hane to stop the descend, then to push 2 more times and then connect. And then white's going to be alive. And then black probably, plays here to make the corner alive. And something like that. So perhaps black was worried about something with that, but I'm not really too sure. There's also this move. And the idea with this one for white, because it looks like black's just connecting, but white can just cut and then get a strong Hane, sometimes even pulling this out. Usually it's for the Hane and just building the center a lot. Whatever it is, black was really worried about it, I think. And black knows that that they have this other capture, right? So no big deal if white captures. This move also is helping for the future of reducing this area. It's a very solid position, sort of a springboard for jumping out this way later. So that helps. And then actually we can catch up to this game pretty soon. So a black, of course, captures because otherwise black is dead in the corner. Yeah, and then white decides to play here. It's an interesting move. It's a lot to unpack for me, this move. So it doesn't exactly fix this cut even in an indirect way, although it might be cognizant of that cut. It does fix this cut. There's still little annoying peeps and clamps and stuff for later. The question is, okay, so the real question here is, if white plays here, the most profitable move, right? Then what exactly was black going to do? I think there's something concrete here that white was afraid of. It might even just be the cut. Now, in this case, the ladder is working for white, it seems. Let me just fact check that. It is, yeah, it's working for white. So basically, like when it gets to here, white can actually push again, and then again, and then go this way. Yeah, so it is actually working for white. So although even if the ladder works for you now, you usually don't want to kind of like, because that means that when black plays anything around here, you're going to constantly worry about this cut, right? So just because ladder works now doesn't mean you shouldn't fix against this cut, right? So that cut might be, I'm also thinking like peep, maybe not this push though, because that starts to make the corner less alive. But this cut is probably, this cut and this cut, the direct cuts are the most significant thing here. But this move does surprise me a little bit because the profit of this move is quite low. And it also still doesn't quite fix that. So I'm surprised that white is giving black this move. Um, I couldn't play a move like this, but maybe if I got, stronger or something. So yeah, okay. So black gets that one and then takes the rest of this big side here. That makes sense. Um, it's difficult for black to, like, you might worry, some of you might worry about white invading here. But yes, it is going to be a lot of profit for white, especially in this stage of the game. It starts to be valuable, but black does get something though. The wall that black gets is not nothing. It's not worth nothing. And even if black adds the move, there isn't really a great move here for fixing everything up. Like if black jumps, this is actually still here because of like stuff on that side. And the total territory is only like this anyway. And even it's less than that because white has endgames and can come from this side. So basically, it's not worth investing in this because this area is never going to be a cash cow for you if you're black. Like it's never going to get you more than 10, maybe 15 points at the max. So it makes a lot more sense to take the bottom side and just treat this lightly. So white plays here, trying to over-concentrate black. And usually when white does this, white's hoping to do it in Sente. So I imagine after black drew back, probably white's not even adding a move. Let's try to guess, chat. What do you think white's going to do next? And then we can finish up catching up on this game and go to the next game and go back and forth. Where to play for white? Yeah, personally, I was not a fan of white's Q13, but there might be more to it than I can see. I don't see any answers yet in chat, so S10? S10. Interesting. I don't think you need to slide. Like S10, it is a bit of a weird stone relationship on this side. So for example, if black was fixing up their shape, you pretty much have to go back now. Um, so it's like if white plays here, and of course black should block, but if white plays here and black plays here, are you sure you want to play there? That kind of thing. Um, I would have a similar idea to you, but I would maybe be looking at just the invasion. The invasion is trying to get the maximum amount of territory here. And there's a wedge to think about, but let's just imagine this. Um, Now, in this scenario, I'm not 100% sure whether white pulls back or plays here, but even if white just plays like this, black is actually a little bit of a weak group, like not super strong at least. And black, and of course, white got all the territory here. So I feel like compared to the slide idea, there's nothing really to complain about what we've gotten here. Yeah, white could also push the other way, but it gets more complicated that way. So this is definitely a big place, especially because like you can see that black even still has a cutting point. That's like the sad part for black is they lose all their points and they get a cutting point, right? This move is powerful. There might be other ideas like something like this, for instance, but maybe black is just going to be happy to settle or to double hane. Oh no, Joe is some kind of Caucasian white guy. Um, yeah, I played a game. I know him from a long, long time ago when he used to like in Toronto. And then and I also got to play a casual game with him at the last USGO Congress. Oh, Joel is a pretty common white, like non-Asian name, I think. Oh, I see. The EOL part is making you feel like you probably haven't encountered many Joels before just by coincidence. And I understand why those letters sound Korean to you. That makes sense. But the last name is also not Korean too. Anyway, so yeah, so I would be looking at this one. This is sort of like big in the near future, but I doubt that this would be big enough right now compared to this one. Um, and then like you could play in the center. I know a lot of like the audience might, I have a lot of students who would probably want to build here. And then we do, sure enough, we check AI and it turns out it's like really good, right? But this is an area. First of all, you play there. It's pretty wide, but it's very open. Nothing is stopping black from playing something here anyway. And black also doesn't need to because it's still open from so many areas. And also, we need to remember this is an area where only white can make points. But, these are areas still left on the board where both colors can make points. So you need to give those places a little bit of extra bonus when you consider them for the double aspect. So catching up with the game, right, we have white going with this attach move that we sort of looked at a little bit. Yeah, black is asking here, trying to see if they can get this move in Sente. Seems like anyway. I'm not entirely sure why black is doing this. Like it doesn't seem to affect um, white's ladder here either. So I'm not really sure, to be honest, what that's about. I don't think black. If it were me, I think maybe just like here, just like respect white's superior presence in the area and get this kind of settlement. I feel like that's probably enough for black that all black can ask for. Okay, so there's a trade. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I actually thought white was gonna do like this for the cleanness of it, but I understand that giving black one of these is painful. Hmm. Right, so yeah, there's some aji here, obviously. Right, this is a common ko technique. Yeah, so like this, then ko, and like this, then ko. Um, it is reason enough for white to play differently though, than they did, but um, depends on how this concludes. Honestly, I think black did okay. Like it's gonna depend on because black got absolutely obliterated here, right? So it's actually to me, it's gonna depend on how well this thing survives, aka like how well this part, is prevented from becoming all white. Because if black handles it somehow really well, then this is actually a pretty big gain. Of course, we need to also understand that these exchanges here massively hurt black in terms of the position and also just the end game as well. Like even if this part stays okay, there's still monkey jumps at K1 and stuff like that, right? So there's some upfront cost when black does the Hane and connect here. ODS is kind of teleporting me into the end of the game sometimes. It's a bit awkward, but anyway. So now we have, this gain here from the Ko fight. Of course, white gained 2. I wouldn't be surprised if it's overall better for white. Actually, it probably is better for white because this thing is also super weak. And then we have a nice battle happening here. And of course, there's a threat of Ari for making this a big Ko. Black decides to play here first and then just make a lot of different Ko shapes to make this confusing for white and hard to kill. White uses this as a Ko threat. Black makes the Ko. I was going to say make the Ko huge, but actually it's kind of just, it's also just to capture the stone. White takes that. And then black opts to prioritize the cornerstones, which also can make sense because this thing actually is not out of the woods yet, this white shape. I'm going to bounce over now to the game 2. So we have Wu Yifan versus Sun Shinku. And totally different game. So let's just, calm down again and get started looking at this game. That other game really escalated. I'm surprised, in my experience, I feel like this is like a weird comment, but I feel like the Chinese players in North America have a tendency to play faster than a lot of the I mean, it might be Chinese players or it might be just the East Asian players in general. But like in my experience, the Chinese players play faster as a group than like the Caucasians, for example. What do you guys think about that? Um, there's definitely some difference there, I think. Because these games are really zooming along. This one's already at move 116 that we're about to look at, and this one 113. And most of the like a lot of the deciding moments have probably passed already in a way. Yeah, so let's look at this game. Okay, so we've got this very classic with the update move. Yeah, so some of you might know this Josaki. So sometimes actually people can mistake this one. So this one's very popular these days, right? And you need to be careful because in this crosscut, you definitely should not Atari here. And the thing to remember is the one where you should Atari and make Tiger's Mouth is the one where you're hitting white on the head, okay? So in this case, white stone is farther away, so it's not the right one. This one would be more like, extend, extend. Black plays here or here, and then it's like a big mess. Black is looking at the weakness here, and commotion there might allow black to get a stone, for example, at like if white probably plays here first, but anyway, like this. Basically, then black can come out here because no longer cuttable, thanks to that stone. So that's this is not a part of this is off topic, but for this Joseki, when some of you guys go to study this, what I want to give you as a guide to help with some of this is you need to understand the focal important points. The important points are the eye space of black and white, as well as this weakness here specifically. And anytime black gets a stone here or here, or other places even, but mainly those two, then suddenly they can play here and white will not be able to cut through there. And that's going to shatter white's position in a way. So that's something that both players are paying attention to. Okay, so let's, yeah, as for the actual Joseki in the game, you guys might know this peaceful result. And then white can play away, but it's also common to come back here pretty soon. And actually, black often blocks it. Like, it feels painful to respond. But black does, in terms of AI, at least from what I've seen, yeah, black often blocks this, and then white plays away. But I think it's more common that white doesn't do this quite yet. So we have white, playing the Hane. And yeah, some of you, so this extra push is optional. Like, you can leave it like this and do stuff, or you can push one more time. And some of you might know this move. This has become a little bit obsolete in the age of AI now. Oh, is there a raid? I'm not actually like on Twitch, so I can't tell if there's a raid. Okay, actually I can tell there's a raid. Samet the Turk, thanks for the raid. Thanks for raiding us. Yeah, I missed that. I was so focused on commenting. Actually, when I'm streaming on my own channel, I rely on the sound partly, like the raid sound. So, which I can't hear in this case. Yeah. So there was an old Joseki, right? Which is like, white would actually jump down to here, which is looking at this this connection at A, which actually is a working connection. And this move also indirectly threatens these black stones because it equips white to start to actually use this group to fight with those stones better, instead of just trying to fight and then just starting to die. Because yeah, white, like black, can gain some liberties maybe and then come back to do something to the corner. So then black connects this and then white connects. Black does some sente pushes, white fits in this forcing move and then connects. And then black needs to make sure that this Atari doesn't happen. So black Ataris, and then pushes. And normally you would be like thinking, oh, like, why are we doing this when we could save the agi of this kind of cut, right? But that's because black has already decided that they're going to play out the liberty fight in the corner. So they want more liberties. So they play like this, they push, and then they do some Tessujis. Both sides do Tessujis to basically get the best result here. And then up to here, it's like an old, well, usually it's without this extra push here. But you guys can see actually when I'm drawing the circles, right? But yeah, I'm just making sure because actually when I draw it, sometimes it's like automatically disappearing for some reason. Yeah, okay, I'm just making sure. Otherwise, it's like, what is this guy saying? Okay, so that's like an old school Joseki, right? And in fact, actually, I'll show you guys the end of it because anyone who wanted to pick it up and just learn it or whatever, you could obviously go back through the video, right? So I'll just put it here since I already spent that time talking about it. So black avoids Atari, does the Liberty fight, then jumps here and then jump. So usually people preferred black, actually. So this thing fell mostly out of favor for white, as far as I know, ages and ages ago, because later on white puts 2 more stones inside. And the territory is not even impressive. It looked like it was going to be like 4th line, big territory, but actually it's like 4 plus maybe 4. It's like 8 points, right? And then black has like at least similar here, and then white seems a bit weaker than black overall. So, and actually it was white's corner. So going back to the game anyway, we have a variation of that, which is actually using this diagonal move, which is more complicated. Attach. Interesting. I actually don't know this attach. Like, I don't know. I never actually seen this played in the game before. It actually looks like a pretty reasonable move to think of, but somehow I never seen this before. I guess I didn't see this move. I have seen this before, but I usually saw something else like here, or people would attach here. Interesting. This looks like a very extreme variation. I'm already gonna expect some kind of extreme result to take place here. Because this is pretty hardcore, right? This is like black is really brute forcing this. White pretty much had to play how they played. They can't just go here and sort of get squeezed, right? This could be Joseki for all I know, and I just don't know it. So yeah, this is very, very delicate because both players have to keep thinking about this too, which white doesn't. Um, White might need to be careful first with their liberties, but like this cut is really important. But let's see. So okay, so the corner, white's corner is pretty much dead. Like even if white jumps down, black has this Tasuji, breaking the bamboo, they call it. Yeah. Well, I guess in this case, even just taking it like this. So, yeah, so the corner's pretty much dead, except there's this Atari, double Atari. Black finishes that off. White creates some cutting points, and then black stops. Okay, interesting. So, what do you guys think about this trade? Black got a pretty big corner. It was white's corner to begin with in a way, and it's a pretty sizable corner. Black also got Sente. White got some top points and basically completely trashed black's outside. So what do we think? I find this pretty difficult to judge. I want to say white's actually better from it, but it was white's corner that black got, and black got Sente, which is pretty big. My guess would be that white's a bit better there because black stones there are all like so garbage now. What do you guys think? Pretty even? And then we have the same thing happening again. That's pretty funny. That is funny. This time, okay, let's see. Again. My lighting is pretty bad. I forgot to do one thing. Does this help? That helps, right? I forgot to turn on my light. Oh man, this game. This is like this is the same as before, except black basically has less. You wouldn't want to push here now because of this. And instead of playing here, black played here. And then white went for this one, which of course, if black blocks, then it's very well. Does white play n3 next? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe there's something else for white to do. I have no idea. But black counters again, and then empty triangles, and then we trade again. Okay. Black got almost the same result in both corners. This time, black won't have to add an extra move because black has this one already. Very similar, but obviously, there was a lot less of like the extra pushing and the, this pushing sequence here. So obviously, this time, white isn't wrecking some kind of like 7 black stones out here, right? This time, I actually really think it's better for black. What do you guys think? I think this one is even or better for white, but this one I think is better for black. But anyway, hard to judge. But I mean, black is poking into white's area. Um, I suppose white does have a pretty decent net there when they want it. But also black has enough stones that it's gonna be easy to just move and then like reduce this. So I feel pretty like I'm probably wrong, but I feel pretty strongly that but okay, so white does get sente. Last time black got sente. So that is a big difference. I'm still gonna say that black is better in this corner from this result alone. Not better on the board or whatever, but just for that result. Okay. Black goes along with this Gote kind of sequence because it's damaging white's top. This connect in the future is looming there. It's not something black wants to play because it's only a bit more than like it's 4 points plus some effect. It's absolutely not something black wants to play. But eventually, if black cut into here too much, it might be that, well, even white doesn't have to play it. They can just swallow these up or something. But basically, these two stones have a little bit of value left, basically. But it's going to take a while for that to matter. Right, so white moves out. There's still a decent amount of potential out here, and it has some defensive benefit in this situation, so it's making sense. It's making enough sense anyway. I don't know if it's actually one of the best moves. Ultimately, you never really know with these center moves. It could be lower value than than we think. Okay, scorpion looking shape, and then long extension. And white diving in here is no surprise. It's the last, obviously attractive move. I mean, you can do it in other ways. You could play here. This is probably not even bad, but like black is a bit wider on the left than white is on the bottom, so it's pretty understandable to play this, especially considering that if black makes a wall here, it's actually quite wide, which means like white can easily play reduction moves later. And again, wow, this is such a funny game. They keep copying, and then copying. It's weird. It's weird. I understand though. I understand Black's choices with these once again, right? Like getting these extra stones, it's cutting into here. It's really turning the potential down here into like 0. And it's also contributing to helping reduce White's center potential. Because again, the center potential, it has holes everywhere, but if white plays here later, it could be or even like here, it could be net. So like it depends a bit on something here, but I don't think black can even like black can't even play that. So really these nets are just working. Which means we need to really see this as white's potential. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny though. There's so much repetition happening. Wow, white actually makes sense, but oh man, A2 is like so painful. What? Well, I disagree, Prince Lena. I think like I knew someone was gonna say that when I called it painful. You're talking about the situation. I'm talking about the move. Playing a 4-point move is always painful. I mean, one would like to fit in some other move before and then like make black make you do it, but it doesn't work that way, right? So we want to take care of the B2 stone because this cut at E4 is still obviously relevant. White just peeped. He needs to make sure that the peep stays relevant and stays powerful, stays threatening. So A2 obviously makes sense. This part. So there's this old technique, which to be honest is very hard to successfully find the right situation for it. You think it's good and then it's bad, which is to cut here. And then, either it turns into this kind of trading, which if you set it up in a way where black doesn't have the ladder, which sometimes black wouldn't, right? Then this could be sometimes possible for white, and especially we're looking at like this weak black group here, then it looks reasonable. Yeah, or black, and if black tries to take, then you have double Atari. That's the idea with this this weird cut here. Normally we don't Hane and cut because they just take us, right? But of course there's double Atari. So black has this move though. And like if white tries to go out, now black can just take this. So white's gonna connect. And then if black takes, then white's idea would be to Atari once and then to extend. Black deals with this in some way, and then white finishes making some kind of a base. That actually would be pretty skillful in an area where maybe surviving is difficult. Um, not sure if not sure if white can actually cut this. Maybe they could. Maybe black would be in trouble here. Otherwise, this one, and then maybe some kind of cutting here. But what happens when black ignores and doesn't mind white coming out here, right? Then it's not so easy for white. Um, I mean, if black plays here, then yeah, then this move is gonna it's gonna do things like this kind of stuff. Um, but black plays here. This coming out doesn't currently do much. Well, it does some stuff actually. Like it does separate black, but we're still wondering about this group. So first of all, maybe white extends it once anyway. But then white is going to have to play something like this. Or anyway, something related to helping this and or related to this peep, basically. White has to play around here. So that's something that could happen. It means white gets one less extra move here because black didn't have to spend Gote on that side. So that could shake things up a little bit. Although I think white would still survive pretty easily. So actually, based on my verdict about this, what we looked at here, I actually think this move could be good. Would you guys have any opinion of it? I feel like it could be, or at least it could get a result that is like hard to say, something like that. Um, but then instead, white cut here, which surprised me. I mean, yeah, the ladder works for white, so hmm. Maybe it's fine. Yeah, I mean, this has some in common with the other result too. White can still come out, therefore there's still danger for this group. This cut is still here, and this white group can probably survive. So it's got some things in common. But this is not the game, it seems. Maybe it's a misclick. Wow, the game is already at 171. The white lives with a very direct, just please let me live move. Black finishes the ladder and also threatens a bit of a mini Moyo here. And then white starts to swallow those up. Yeah, definitely one of the minor factors is that white doesn't want to be put into a position where they would even consider capturing this. Maybe white's not really thinking too much about that, but if black spends one more move to save these, then it starts to be very relevant. So yeah. Hmm. Is there nothing better? Is there really nothing better to do than? I mean, also if black saves those, then there's a push and cut on this side. White's not fully connected. Is it relevant? Maybe. Yeah, black coming out here is no surprise. I wonder if also white could have just played this now. That move is kind of required to make any. I mean, it is hard, to be honest, it is hard to make a big thing here because black has like all these stones and it's so open. But we're also starting to be at a loss for like big side and corner moves. Um, I guess honestly, even like this side here is getting bigger. Where do you guys think black played next at this moment? My ideas would be well, actually, we did see. I forgot that I actually showed it. Um, yeah, like coming out here makes sense. There's no sente around like this corner or like really not much to do here. So there isn't actually a whole lot to think about in my opinion. Um, like soon, something like S12 is actually going to be pretty big. Black may also consider when do they want to play the S7 clamp. Other than that, coming out here is just the only thing I can even really see. Um, is there some push and cut stuff to think about here? Maybe. But if I'm black, I could not bring myself like and it depends on the score, right? I didn't count, but I could not bring myself to like to just defend like a cut. Like obviously you wouldn't defend it like that. You would find an indirect way that has as much value as possible. But I mean, it's still open, so the value is so low. So I couldn't bring myself to worry about this cut right now. I think, in fact, this white group is not that strong. It's pretty strong, but it's not that strong. So this turn makes sense on many levels to avoid getting sealed in as well. Even these 3 stones can be saved in the future. And even if white pushes and cuts, we can just extend, I think. Ladder is still fine. In white's, white, in order to push and cut, you have to make a weak group, right? And then white has to run the weak group. And only after saving this group can white even begin to attack the thing that they cut, right? But meanwhile, black makes shape out here. Black has some space to make an eye over here, some space down here too. So definitely, that's one of the ways for a lot of SDK players to power up, right? Is it's good that you notice a cut, right? But you should question whether you should really defend it because you should base it also on your counting, like who's winning. If you're losing, you can't afford to just play dame, right? No. If you have some move on the board like that you know is worth more than 10 points or whatever, but instead you play here and you just lose by points in a peaceful way, that's no way to play. So, you got to ask yourself, like, are you really in that much danger? Right? White has to do so much stuff just to help this group, and then there's like space for eyes everywhere. Even this is like instantly alive. Like you're pretty much you're alive. Like you have an eye there, you have an eye here or here. You also have other space and moves around here. Like, yeah. Okay, going forward. Black even has Sente with this move because white doesn't have 2 eyes yet. So now black really so white actually attacks here, but see this makes sense in a way because like actually doesn't make sense. Let's think. It would have made sense if this part wasn't if this part was blocked, then of course this would be like attacking at the same time as expanding a Moyo, right? Does it make sense here? I don't know if it does. I don't know if I like this move. That's like you're gonna take 2 moves to cut black, right? You need this move plus one more Gote move. Meanwhile, black already has like one eye here, potential eye here, space here. Black can just play points things, which naturally turn into eyes. Meanwhile, white is playing potentially dame, right? So I'm not actually a fan of this move, but I would have liked it maybe if this part was blocked. Okay, so white's trying to peep black Kasujis. And then white strengthens and avoids some variations, like avoids. So black has to connect first of all, but white's probably trying to avoid like these kinds of problems. Basically, something like that. Among potentially other variations. But it's making sense, I think, that white plays here. Black cuts here. So this one, So black, it's not Sente on the corner, but it is worth some points. Now it might not be the biggest points move on the board. Points alone, right? If it's only points, then there's bigger things. But when black already has a stone here, first of all, there's going to be this move, which is like you can squeeze and transform white's points into your points and also get an eye while you're at it, right? So that increases the safety. See, black is playing like pretty much any damn player tries to play, which is like they're trying to defend against this cut indirectly, right? Because connecting there is dumb, is 0 points. So don't dignify, like try to dignify this move as little as possible. Yeah, points is the name of the game, right? So this was like attacking white and making eye and making points and taking away points all at the same time. And then this would also be doing all that stuff at the same time, minus the attack part, maybe. I mean, this one's actually peeping white, right? So white would have to respond somehow. That would be amazing for black. But white's never going to let that happen, though. So I can already, predict what white's next move is in the game. White's going to do something around here. Or not. Interesting. This is the game now. Okay. I mean, that was big. We were talking about this move. G6, G6. Yeah. We were talking about this move. Definitely super huge. But I'm still, I mean, okay. There's also the thing, like, if you can't find a nice move, then maybe play. It's like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? If you don't have anything nice to play, don't play anything at all. That's, So maybe white looked at this kind of move or this kind of move and just thought, ew, and then decided not to play anything. But it's painful though. It's painful. Yeah. Like I definitely think that this is just bad now. Like I could always be wrong, but what do you guys think? Like, especially when I'm talking about a game between very very strong, like these guys, presumably both stronger than me, 7 Dan, right? So um, so I'm gonna be as harsh about their moves as possible, and I'll be wrong a lot. Um, But when so many of the moves are just good moves, then you really want to talk about the bad ones, right? Or the ones you think are bad. I still think this was a bad move, but it sort of made sense, but it sort of didn't. Let's actually jump back to the other game, and it looks like I guess the game is probably still going on, right? I don't see any sort of yeah. Okay, so let's back it up. Looks like they're finishing up soon. But we got to this part. So there was this business here, and then black ignored this move. Yeah, and black is playing like this. Yeah, this makes sense because even though white gets to break into here with this Atari, this whole L-shaped thing here is not alive. So I definitely agree with black's choice to not just sacrifice somehow. Hmm. This crosscut is probably also making sense. Just my initial sense of it, especially with white having white sente around here is probably relevant. Even this, right? This is like threatening to connect back. So that means there can be a squeeze of some sort happening, maybe. I'm not too sure actually, but let's see. Okay, huh. White's plan. What is white's plan here? Yeah, white's obviously trying to put black in danger and sort of squeeze. My assumption was that white's not really expecting to win this liberty fight, but just to get a massive squeeze. But I don't know. Hmm. Seems like white is serious about this liberty fight. We'll see. No, they're not. They're not. They're not. They're not. They're not. I was right the first time. Yeah. They're just trying to optimize the squeeze and consider endgame and all those different things. And so black knows that pretty soon they'll have to start taking white's liberties. So they're milking the situation to try to break some of this stuff up first, like get some reduction on white kind of thing. Because these operations are also increasing black's liberties. So black can just do a little bit of damage first before they go and kill white. Um, yeah. So black plays here to make sure there's no like Seki or dying or anything like that. White captures this to make black capture, and then probably Tanuki now. So here's a good moment maybe for us to predict the next move. Move 160. Where do we think white plays? So we've got this big potential. So we've got like a move here, obviously. We've got this big potential here. I think every time the real game puts a move down, it erases my markings. Just like that. Yeah. It's like awkward because we're in like a review, but it's also like the live game. It's kind of like a weird thing. Um, so there's some kind of moves to do here, but nothing too crazy, I think. Um, there's a little bit of points to be had here, but I think we can agree that the center is now the focal point because there really isn't anywhere else to do much, I think. So any guesses? Where would you guys play as white right now? K15. Yeah, just the honest move to take a big swath of middle points, right? Honestly, makes sense to me. You'll spend a little bit of seconds thinking, is there a move that's slightly more optimal, right? And then you'll just play it. You'll think about attach at J16, maybe. Uh, I think when you read it, it's quick to see that there's problems with that one. Um, you might even think of like K16, right? I mean, I might overthink things more than some other people. Like, if I still have time on the clock, I don't necessarily just play this. I might consider like do a little math maybe about like whether now this one has also some issues like this kind of so this move does just seem better, but I don't like to play things without like trying to push the envelope. I'm always looking for something even better. But probably this is the best one. I do like it because black is nowhere near the middle here yet, so there really isn't any chance that this doesn't give us points. If you play from the other side, not only is it still open there from multiple holes anyway, but black could even go as far as to attach here, and then it really shrinks quite a bit. So yeah. So white played this one in the game. I agree that the okay, so this one does have a shape problem. Like if you try to cut, then there can be like this one, this one, and snapback. So probably we have to play like this, and then the Aji just isn't great, right? I mean, maybe black still can't play here because white can just play brute force. So I get this move. The downside of this move, of course, is that when black plays something, white kind of needs another move, but maybe white doesn't mind that. Certainly the shape here is way better than the shape here. But with this move, if black played here, then you would consider to play away. In fact, maybe even I wonder if black would react with the I don't think black would actually care about the bottom that much because it's undercut from N2 anyway. So this move's not really sente. It would have to be like here maybe to focus on the center. Or maybe you attach. I don't know. Attach and do this and then Tanuki? I don't know. Right, so black played this as expected. White actually attached. Okay. Interesting. Uh, interesting. I would have probably played here. Oh, wait a second. I see. So white wants Sente, I think. Black's not going to play here, I think, but black would go forward. And as long as white sticks and clings to black like this, it's going to make sure that black worries about this A, I guess. Or maybe the A might not be that severe because black could also counter Hane. But white's thinking that, okay, I get Gote anyway when I play this because black just like pushes and then Tanuki or push Tanuki, right? So we might as well give black a little bit of a stress with A. Hmm. I see. I see. Well, black can actually come out pretty far though here. So I'm surprised white was okay with that. I don't know if I'm okay with that because okay, it's a math game at this point, so I don't know. Did hmm did black have to play like this? Could black not just play like that? Oh, no, white's not gonna do this, right? This is too risky for white, I think. Maybe not. Maybe that Panuki at the top, maybe it's just small. Because black's gonna suffer some damage on that side. Okay. See. And things are making more sense. Okay. My plan wasn't the best. It's like playing it out more and correcting myself, or so I think. Okay, I mean it's kind of endgame. I mean it's definitely endgame, but a lot of like Ataris and things happening. Big. That has become very big. 5 in a row. Okay, and then this is the part we were catching up to. Clamp, resist. Yeah, the motivation to resist here. I mean, sometimes, in this moment, right, one would think that white would like to usurp Sente somehow to come back around here. That's my first thought. I didn't actually look around too much once more. Um, just kind of scanning. Like my eye goes here a little bit. Definitely my eye goes here. And then I think black's intention actually is to get sent is to like if white were to connect, right? I don't think black's connecting this. I'm pretty sure black is doing this or doing something there. The white in turn also wants to so sometimes you'd have an idea of like, okay, black wants Sente, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna like leave ourselves in Atari, right? And then we're gonna go back and repair. Or maybe this is the repair, or probably this one, right? In this case, it's this one. Um, but in this case, it's probably a bit too nice to black. And actually, one of the motivations for this move is because it makes black's corner a little bit more suspect. So let's say it was like this, right? We're talking about this corner. Chat, what to play? What is the best thing white can do? Give your brains a little quick workout. Thanks, Mr. Lion. Actually, one of my critiques to myself in this commentary is like I've been going kind of fast paced with like saying a million things, right? Um, so I'm wondering if that's really the best commentator style, right? But yeah, I'm just trying to like dump out my thoughts as quickly as possible. But yeah, I appreciate the comment. Thank you. Right. So, do you guys have any ideas for the upper right corner, White's turn? R19. Right. So, we have a few ideas here. The first idea that some people could think of is Atari, right? So, if we Atari, a pretty high percentage of chat would probably gravitate towards this move next. Yeah, and then because anything else really just makes black alive, right? Then we extend in. Black, of course, has to throw in to achieve anything. And then it is a sort of a direct ko. It's a bent four, right? So, like if white gets to connect it, it becomes like technically like another direct ko. So the white takes first, ko. If black plays here, which I would say is a little smarter, white takes. This ko can be fought, but even if black just backs off, the nice thing here is that white is the one who has to throw in. So black actually takes first. And so if white was like already ahead and this was like a luxury in the first place, then this would be probably a bad plan for white. Yeah, because black could actually stand to just capture a bunch of stuff here. So I do think as who said it first? One eye? Yeah, One Eye Dragon. Like I think I do agree that starting with R19 seems the best. So here's another question, chat. What is Black's next move now at this moment? And after this, I'll move on. Both games seem like they're finishing up. So what should Black play now? So if Black, you guys can keep, yeah. So if Black does cut, White has a good way to play, which is like not to Atari because then Black can make two eyes like this. But to extend, anticipating that maybe black makes this eye and then we can throw in. And if black throws in, then we can Atari from this side, and it becomes the same ko we saw before. But black actually has this move, which, when black plays here, white plays here, right? So sometimes you got to question, like, is that the mutual vital point? And one of the cool features of this move is that you make it so that this white move is actually not sente. So black can just go here and then make another eye. And thanks to touching white stone, you make it so that this move is self-Atari. But in fact, R19 is going to be wrong here. I'm pretty sure, anyway. Even though it actually looked like the first smart correct answer. So yeah, in the end, you guys are talking about this. When you said double ko, you're talking about this. And then dun 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 dun. And then if this. So it's not really well, it's not really double ko actually. Like I think it's not a true double ko. Unless I'm just wrong. Let me think. Because when black takes this again, I think black is now at an advantage in the ko. And it's that side doesn't keep going, but this side keeps going. And then even if white tries to stop this side from black being alive, black could even just they could try this obviously, but they could just connect and then connect, right? It's not a real double ko. It just like looked like one. Okay, let's go forward. So we just have some simple endgame here. Of course, this J17 comes into play again. The profits that whites invested in earlier. And endgame, it would take a lot of thinking and focus to really scrutinize it well. So we might as well just not unless something crazy happens. I don't know. I actually don't know like what time I'm even supposed to be wrapping up, right? I guess when the games are done, we pretty much start wrapping up, right? Um, unless my eyes deceive me, nothing special happened in the end game now, right? So final result is white wins by Komi, just about. I'm assuming Komi is 7.5, so it's like close to Komi. So what is the story of this game? To me, at least. Story of this game. Well, this move remains in my mind. I remain like I'm still thinking about this move and how I feel about it, but I didn't really like it. I'm sort of interested. I might even check AI later just out of pure curiosity. But I feel like this move for black was unnecessary. I'm not sure what black wanted with that because it didn't break the ladder that I showed. Okay, what's the story here? Story here is we had a big trade. Um, Borderline game deciding. I mean, depends on how one-sided it is. Super hard to judge. My feeling is, well, I said it right. Basically, my conclusion here is kind of a cop out, but it's like if this black group survives very well, then maybe black got the better result. But I'm leaning towards white because especially the damage on this side, and just a lot is captured, and this thing in theory should get attacked pretty well. So I would prefer white. Yeah, like I really think white is better at this moment. What does the AI say actually? Oh, I can't open it here. Okay, fine. Um, then we had this like conus over here, which I feel like black did a pretty good job, at least for like settling the group. But at what cost, right? Because black had to lose. Well, this fight continued. Um, right. So yeah, black captured white actually. That was very good. I actually think black did pretty well there. What do you guys think? Like, because white used a co-threat to get two moves in a row here, and black still, black rampage through here a little bit, and then managed to just keep everything. It's all dead, right? So that has to be good for black. Like, yes, white got more wall, but like, I think if the game is great for white, it's because of earlier. Like, it's because white's going to be able to capture this to get thick and make black take this. And white did awesomely here and damage this. And then you look around the board, where's black's territory, right? This is like minuscule, minuscule. This is like sort of big, but it took some damage. Like there's not much points in this part of it right now. Overall, I don't think black really has that many points. If you look at this, like just eyeballing it, like this chunk alone is pretty hefty. That's like 8, 11, 12, 15, 20. That's about 30 points, right? 30 points. Comey takes it over 35, like 38 or so, right? A few more is like over 40. Um, how much did black have? Well, like, but white has this massive center potential, though. That's the thing. That's what really pushes white over the edge, I think. But I think I think it ended up being a closer game than how I was kind of thinking, even just now, right? It seems like it's going to be one-sided. I guess 6.5. It is a bit one-sided, but for such an alive game, right? Like for such a game full of trades and codes and interesting stuff happening, it's kind of close. It may very well have came down to endgame ability. We will never know. Okay, and then the other game, let's check out what happened. So yeah, we actually finished off like with the squeeze and black coming into here. I was kind of crapping on this move. Um, right. So we had those very interesting early trades, right? This one, not this one. It keeps taking me to the lower branches. Right. This one, I felt like it's kind of good for white. Even with black sente, I felt like it's a bit good for white, but I'm not sure. It could be even. Very, very, very hard to judge. And then this one, I really felt like it was better for black, which is this result. Uh, that's actually really annoying. OGS keeps taking, when I'm clicking the forward arrow, right? It keeps taking me down into like the branches that were made instead of keeping me on the top branch. It's very annoying. Yeah, so that's also not the game. I wish it would stop doing that. Okay, so we got a ko now. So, okay, keep, squeeze, and then here we got a clamp, clampy clamp. We've got a ko. Okay, what's happening? What's happening? So let's quickly analyze the board. So alive. Black is virtually alive, but but black would need to keep that eye on it and be careful. There's an eye that could be here. There's half an eye here. There's an eye here. Um, there's an eye here. Well, actually, is there? Not really. Actually, there is because even if white plays this, just hypothetically, right? Um, this black move is sente. Like, I mean, black's not going to play there. They're going to go in one more time. Then this connect is sente. So in fact, black does have a guaranteed eye. So black has 2 guaranteed eyes already. So never mind. Black doesn't really have to pay attention. Okay. And we've got this alive corner. Everything is basically solid. All this white, all this part, this white, everything is just really, really alive. So the only unclear thing is the area that they're playing right now. At the moment, black still looks very safe, but we'll see what happens. So ko, and then this is black's ko threat. It's technically a point losing ko threat. Actually, yeah, why did black? That seems like a mistake. I mean, black is super strong, so maybe I'm missing something. But you get 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ko threats plus you get the G1 that you wanted. So what's wrong with this? I don't really get this one because now white has a bigger corner. It's bigger by 1 more point. 1 more point? 2 more points. No, 1 more point. Yeah. Wait. 2 more points. Yeah. It's bigger by 2 more points. That's not nothing. I don't understand. Guys, what am I missing here? Why is black's ko threat like this? Surely this doesn't get more than 4 ko threats. So that's a ko threat. That makes 2, 3. Oh, 5. So what that tells us then too is that that black thinks that this ko is well worth the 2-point sacrifice to get the 1 extra total ko threats here. Interesting. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ko threats instead of 4. Interesting. I knew there had to be something because this is just clearly G1 is clearly very bad if you just wanted a few ko threats, or if you wanted to avoid point losing ko threats. Yeah. You would just go here next, or you would go here next. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's always 4, yeah. So it must be for that extra co-threat. Okay, black fits these in a no, a white backed off. Okay, white backed off. Actually, it actually makes a lot of sense for white to back off because white actually already gained 2 points here from what I can see. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so now black is just reducing white's center basically. Quite a bit, I'll add. Actually, this is pretty eventful because rescuing this group is actually not small, and it even creates a cutting point in white's shape now. So I consider this quite eventful right now, actually, like this little change. If nothing else, it's eventful for points. Okay. I feel like white messed something up with that. I don't know. Maybe white took too long to play in the middle. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe instead of clamp, maybe something in the center is bigger. I don't know. Hard to judge. Center is hard to play because it's mid to high down players know how big the moves on the edge can be more than they look compared to the center, which is usually smaller than it looks. The moves there. But you see all these moves in the edge when some of you might be like screaming about like these things. Ooh. Surely that's a gain for black. That's huge. What? I don't think white's getting that much. I think the only way this could be okay um for white is if white actually has some follow-up here that like creates serious danger for black. For example, obviously if white could cut this, then the game would end. But if white had some way to like capture like all these, let's say, in black's efforts to get back connected. But I mean, I'm talking really vague right now, so let's see what actually happens. Um, so white just captures, right? And then white begins this attempt, and then black connects. So white was able to wipe this, basically turn it into 0 points. But it's already 0 points. It's already close to, like, it's already not very many points now. Because even if black connects, maybe white plays somewhere else, but locally speaking, of course, white could just play like something here, let's say, right? You can see there's not many points there. So it goes from just a small number of points to black saving this big thing there. Um, this kick made some sense because it fixes white's cut here. Um, White reacted with Ko, but in reality, and White knows this, which is like that this block is not sente on the corner. White knows this. But anyway, they started the Ko. But was the Ko really the biggest thing? I mean, White has to be careful too because there could be like black jumping in all the way to K18 or yeah, just wiping out this whole territory. But at least white can always go back to this, like which I talked about earlier. Um, but yeah, I mean, this honestly, this clamp. I talked about this like I pointed this move out like in the opening, right? When we were talking about like S12 be on the board, like early middle game. Um, Honestly, even just like finding the time to play a move here would have been quite big. I wonder if capture is even black's best move there. Maybe it is. All in all, though, honestly, I like Black's results. Black got this. Black saved this. Forced White to make that bad exchange. I think it might be a bad exchange. It might not be actually, because I guess this area was open anyway. But like White did get some points, but I mean, some of that was already in the midst of being done anyway. It was already on the board, like the clamp and the Atari. Yeah, I think Black got the better result there. Black has to be a bit careful now. Most of the eye space was wiped out, and then it'd be so funny if this move turns around and becomes like the game deciding factor. That'd be so funny. Black looks pretty alive at this point. Ooh. I smell the time pressure without even seeing the time. This is the kind of like I haven't analyzed it yet to figure out if it's really a mistake, but this is the kind of stuff that happens to me when I'm playing Black here, and like, um, you're busy counting and thinking about all these different things on the board, and then you have only maybe you leave yourself only a few more seconds to think about what to actually do about this. And you play here because you don't want to get like peeped here. But then, oh, because Black even lost this Atari, which is so big. What the heck? I think Black maybe had to take the pain and do something solid, like maybe here. Yeah, I think Black had to. This can't be good, right? This can't be. I must be missing something. I mean, I know that White needs to think about this cut, but I mean, maybe Black's ploy is to get Sente. So maybe Black gives up this move and lets White capture this, so that White has to play this in Gote, and then there's some. What's Black playing? Here and here. I mean, it's a math game at this point, so it would take me a while to analyze that. But yeah, I mean, giving this strong Black player holding Black the benefit of the doubt, probably it was a calculated thing to get Sente. And we've just got some end game based on some comments from you guys that I saw, and from in the chat earlier. I'm thinking maybe there's like a rip comment that I saw earlier. So did someone die? Or is that the other game? Let's see. It's just some end game. Thing's dying, right? Yeah. Final score. Is the game even over actually? Oh, it seems like the game's not even over yet. But currently the score of the game, it is White by 8.5. Right. So it seems like the game is actually like about to go to scoring, unless I'm just way off and it got scored a long time ago. Oh, it's over. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Right. So the story of this game to me, well, yeah, we had this very interesting trade. I'm honestly, after doing this commentary, I'm definitely gonna have to look at it with AI to see, um, where my assessments are at, recalibrate myself. Yeah, I think. Wait, hold on. I think this is final result is like. Do you guys know how do you keep OGS on the top, part of the tree and stop it from always going down? Is there a way? It's a little frustrating. 'Cause I use the arrow keys on my keyboard. That's how I navigate. If I click the arrows on the OGS itself, then I won't be able to do other things with my cursor in the meantime, right? It's much more awesome to be able to do this, right? Okay, I will teach you if I find out. I'm not gonna find out. uh, okay, so story of the game. So, and I still prefer this for black, but not by much, not by much. But like, it's a huge corner. White got. Oh man, that's so hard to judge. White did get Sente though, and the ability to add one more move to lock this in. But also, I'm trying to judge it locally. Globally, it might be especially fine for white, right? Because when white locks black in, there's obviously a little bit of a Moyo potential here. But if we were isolating this and asking ourselves if this could be Joseki, let's say, right? And we forget and we don't have any white here, then I get a bit more confident preferring it for black. Just because both sides of white seem very meh, right? Very and the corner seems big and yeah. But okay, in the context of actually the game, I won't be surprised if white's also fine, fine in both places. Very interesting trades. And then the game, what was the game about? This part was pretty interesting too, but I suppose there's multiple, according to what I could see, even this move could have made an interesting yet potentially similar result to the game. Right. Ultimately, White's Peep finally got a response. Black wasn't daring enough to try like fighting against this white, which I agree about. I think white has too many liberties. It's like a big long straight line, right? Seems hard. Honestly, I still retain my opinion about this move. I think it might have been a slightly wasted move. Ultimately, white did win. Um, I did say that this is like nice for black, but we need to remember that white did get this capture and gain that stone, and white did also usurp Sente. And white did use Sente for a pretty big move. Again, I'll say it one more time though, right? For those people who might have been thinking that like just finishing capturing this kind of stuff is like super big, we need to remember a couple of things. One is that each stone is really just adding one more point to the intersection, right? Stones are just stones. They're just one more point as a prisoner, right? It's nothing really more than that. Other thing is that only white can make territory in that area. But this is an area where both players can make points. And in fact, when black goes out here, they're actually like converting white's points into their points. It has definitely double value, at least. Yeah. And then, corner side center, it really comes back to that philosophy, with exceptions. Okay. Um, yeah, it seems like we want to start the ending ceremony soon. So I'm just gonna end the commentary there. I probably said more than enough, so I think we're fine, right? So thank you guys for hanging out with me, watching these awesome games, and yeah, that has been the round 5 commentary.